Hello everyone, I'm Arunima from Knit and Otter, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make a drawstring bag using Tunisian crochet. I'm going to use the Bernat Maker Home Deck yarn, and it's my first time working with this yarn, but I really like how it works up with Tunisian crochet, and I'll show you. The stitch definition is great and it's really easy to work with as well. So this is what I'm going to use. This is the color Woodberry, I believe. Yes, Woodberry, and this is black. So I'm going to use two colors, but you can really use whatever colors you like, or you could use it, you could make it in a single color. I'm using a 9mm Tunisian crochet hook, and I'm going to be using a cord with it. That's mostly because the number of stitches won't fit on just the hook. That's pretty much all there is. We can get started. The bag that I'm making in this tutorial is for a toddler. So the measurements will be about 9 inches wide and about 12 or 13 inches high. So you can make this with whatever dimensions you want. So you could modify the number of stitches and the number of rows based on how tall and wide you want this to be. It's a very generic pattern, so it's very easy to customize. Yeah, I'm going to start with 32 stitches. So 32 chain, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 28, 29, 30, 31, and 32. And I'm going to now make the foundation row, and I'm going to turn this around and pick these loops, the back bump of each chain. So it's 2. I should have 32 loops on the hook at the end of the forward pass. So here it is. It's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32. So 32 loops on the hook at the end of the forward pass, and just make the return pass as you normally would by chain 1 and then yarn over, pull through 2 all the way till the beginning of this row. So this is how it's looking at the end of the foundation row. And now I'm going to make the first row. So the first row will be a row of modified simple stitches. So you insert your hook in this vertical loop and this horizontal bar, and then yarn over and pull through. So that is a modified simple stitch. And I have a separate tutorial for this stitch if you want to learn how to make this, if this is not clear. So I'll add a link to it in the description below. But it's fairly straightforward. You just insert your hook in the next vertical bar and that horizontal bar, and yarn over and pull through both of them. So that makes a modified simple stitch, and I'm just going to make that all the way till the end of this row. So again, there would be 32 loops on my hook at the end of this. So that's how it is. Now I'm going to make the return pass just like I normally would. So that's chain 1 and yarn over, pull through 2. All the way to the beginning. And that's how it is. So that's a row of modified simple stitches. So you can see that these stitches here look like simple stitches, but it's the modified simple stitch. The main difference being at the back, you'd see just one bar from the chain instead of the two. So for the next row, we're going to make a row of knit stitches. That's insert your hook in between the two vertical bars of the next stitch. Here. So that's the end of the forward pass, and for the return pass, again chain one and yarn over, pull through two. So this is how it is. So that's one row of modified simple stitches and one row of Tunisian knit stitches. So this pattern is just a 2-row repeat. So just make another modified simple stitch on top of this and then a knit stitch. So modified simple stitch, knit stitch, and just keep repeating that combination all the way until you achieve the height that you want. In my case, I'm going to make 40 rows of this, and I'll see you on the other side of this video. So at the end of 40 rows, we'll end with Tunisian knit stitches. So this row is knit stitches here, and now I'm going to make five more rows of Tunisian modified simple stitches. And the reason for that is that we need to make space to put the drawstring in. So that's the part that I'm going to make now. So you can see that the fabric is nice and stretchy, and I didn't want it to stretch too much lengthwise. So for that reason, that modified simple stitch really helps. So if you see, if you stretch this, the knit stitches stretch quite a bit, but the modified simple stitches don't. So that gives the fabric a little bit of support because it doesn't really stretch out all the way. Otherwise, this would stretch so much more. I'm making this for my son, so I expect he'd be putting heavy toys and books inside this. So I needed something that wouldn't stretch too much, and this seemed to be the perfect combination. So that's a little bit about that. So this is 40 rows, and again, this is about 9 inches wide and around 12 or 13 inches in length, and that's what I wanted it to be. But you are welcome to add or remove stitches and rows depending on what size you want yours to be. So after the end of 40 rows, I'm going to now make a few rows of modified simple stitches. This is so that we can make the space for the cord where the cord would go in. So just another 5 rows of modified simple stitches. So that's the end of one row of modified simple stitches, and I'm going to make 4 more. This is how it's looking after making 5 rows of modified simple stitches. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see it's easily identifiable because this is a row of knit stitches. There is no chain work that's visible at the back, but in this one there we can clearly see this chain at the back. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows of modified simple stitches. And at this point, I'm just going to make the bind off row with, and I'm going to bind off while making modified simple stitches. So insert your hook like you would to make a modified simple stitch, yarn over, pull through all the loops on the hook. So that binds off. This is a slip stitch. This is a slip stitch bind off, and I have a separate video where I explain different kinds of bind off techniques, but this is the one that I use more often than the others. So if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link in the description below. So for this, I'm just going to remove the cable because I don't need it anymore. And all you have to do is insert your hook like you were making a modified simple stitch and just pull through all the loops on the hook. So if you're making yours of a different size or using a different number of rows, I recommend ending your panel with knit stitches, and you will see why later, but just putting it out there right now that make sure that you end your panel with knit stitches, and then make this section where you have for that drawstring at the top. And that's it. So that ends. And now we're going to turn this and join it at the back, so there's the space where the drawstring can be inserted. And then I'm going to make a second panel. So this is the front panel. I'm going to make a back panel. I'm going to make the back panel with black because those are the colors my son chose. Well, I actually have made a part of it already, and I found it very interesting that even though it was black, it was not so hard to make. Let me just quickly show you what I have. So here it is. You can see that this also has pretty good stitch definition. So even though it was black, it was not very difficult to see the stitches or make this. I might be holding this upside down. Yeah, I think this is how it is. So you can see that it's I've always struggled with working with black yarn because how hard it is to see the stitches, but I've found that Tunisian crochet is simpler because it's easier to see the stitches, and if you're using a yarn which has good stitch definition, it makes it much it isn't as hard to work with it. So this will be my back panel, and this is the front panel, and I'm going to now show you how to turn this and sew it at the back so that we have that space for the drawstring, and then I'll show you how to join the two panels. And now I'm going to turn this around over here. So the part that is the modified simple stitches, I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm going to join this at the back. And for this, I'm going to use a regular crochet hook. This is a 6mm hook, and that's what I'm going to use. And this is where we'll insert the drawstring after we've made the two panels. So I didn't cut this yarn, and I'm going to use the same yarn to make this join. So what I'm going to do here is, if you turn the panel, the back side here, the reverse side, you'll see that from the knit stitches there's this chain at the back. We can use that to join, so we won't really show the thread from the join at the front of the panel. So I'm just going to join it with this chain at the back. So I'm going to start with inserting my hook in this first chain over here. So I'm going to pick up that first chain. I'm going to yarn over and pull through, and I'm going to now chain one, so that secures it. I'm going to insert my hook in the next chain, which is the space between these two V's. You can see right here. And I'm going to pick up this these two horizontal bars. This is from the bind off. So I'm going to pick those, yarn over, pull through, pull through, pull through. So this will be a slip stitch at the end, and I'll join it. So now insert hook in the next space, next chain basically, and then pick up these the next two horizontal bars, and then yarn over, pull through, and do this all the way till the end. The number of chains and the number of bind off stitches should match exactly, because this is the chain comes from the reverse pass and the bind off comes from the forward pass, and you should have the exact same number of stitches in both. So just keep doing this all the way till the end of this row. And here I am almost at the end. And here, so this is the last one, and this is the last one here. So there you go, and just chain one in the end to fasten off, and I'm going to cut the yarn at this point, and this is how it's looking. So you can see that we didn't really we don't really have any yarn in the front side of this panel. On the right side of this panel, it's all at the back because we joined with this chain that was at the back from that knit stitch row. And you'd have to make two panels like this. I made mine in two colors, a red and black, because that's what my son picked, and this is for him. So these are the two colors, so two panels exactly the same way. And I'm going to show you how to join them just in just a little bit. Before doing that, I also made two I-cords, and I'm going to quickly show you how to make those. So these are going to make the sling of the bag, and this space that we made over here, these are going to be inserted in that space, and I'm going to show you how. So a quick tutorial about how to make these I-cords. Making a 4-stitch cord is very similar to making a 3-stitch cord. Instead of starting with a 3 chain, you start with a 4 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then pick up this horizontal bar, yarn over, pull through, and leave that loop on the hook. Then do that for the next one, insert, yarn over, pull through, and then do that for the last one as well. So instead of 3 loops on your hook, you will have 4, and you'll be working with 4 loops at once. So for the next row, remove 3 loops, then yarn over, pull through, and then pick up the next one, yarn over, pull through, pick up the next one, yarn over, pull through, and pick up the next one, and yarn over, pull through. So that's all you need to do. So just remove these 3, yarn over, pull through, and you see that I've started to lose these, and it's very hard for me to make sure that I don't lose these. So this is why I always use another crochet hook when I am making a 4-stitch cord. So here, this is really tight. I need to pull it, and there you go. So here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my other hook, and I'll show you what I do. I insert it, and I pick up 3 loops, remove them, pull this one tight, and yarn over, pull through, and then pick 1, pick 2, and pick 3. So I'll just keep doing this, and I'll show you, I'll make a little bit more and show you how it works up. So here, this is how it's looking after a few rows, and if you look at the back, again, it is seamless. You can't see where the join is. It is right here, and it's just closed really tight because I pulled that loop closed really tight. So it's nice and clean, it's nice and stretchy. I really like how this works up. Now to end this I-cord, there are 2 ways to do it. The one way would be just yarn over and pull through all 4 loops, and that would do it. But what I like to do is I like to make another row and just do a slip stitch to bind off. And here, so yarn over, pull through, so that's the first one. Now pick the second, just like you normally would, yarn over, pull through, so that's a chain, and then also slip this from the first loop on the hook, so that gives you one loop on the hook eventually. So at all times you will have one loop on the hook. So you insert your hook here, pick this loop, yarn over, pull through, so that's a chain, and then slip stitch. And do that for the last one as well. And there's a slip stitch. So that's how I like to end my I-cord, but you could just yarn over and pull through all the loops. That would work as well. So here is a comparison. This is how a 4-stitch cord is looking like, and this is what our 3-stitch cord looked like. There's a significant difference in diameter, so if you see that this is also seamless, but you can see that there are 3 stitches which are worked sort of, they look like they're worked in a round, and here there are 4 stitches, and that's how it's looking. So this is, I think it's a very easy technique, and it just takes some time to get used to using another hook maybe to work your cord, but once you get used to it, it works up really fast. So just a quick note about how long these I-cords are supposed to be. So what I did was, it's hard to show here, but I went lengthwise into 2, and then add another one of the width. So twice into height and plus the width. That is what I did. That's mostly because this is very stretchy, and I can see that it will stretch as it's worn. So I decided to keep it a little shorter than what I normally would with any other kind of string, but this one was very stretchy, so I left it a little shorter. We'll see how it goes, but I think it'll work out just fine. Now I have my 2 panels, and I think I said that I'm going to fasten off at this point, but I did not. I decided to leave it as it is, and I'm going to use it directly to join the 2 panels. Sorry about that. If you did cut, that's all right. You can just join a new strand of thread. You can just join a new strand of yarn, and that will work just fine. So now what you need to do is, you have these 2 panels, so this one and this one, just put them together. So I'm going to join them from the front, not from the back. So just put them together like this, and we will not join this part, the one with these spaces here, because that's where the drawstring will go. I'm going to join it on the side. So I'm going to do a slip stitch join. So here, this is how it is at the back. I'm going to go ahead and join this over here with that knit stitch loop at the back over here, just to give it some stability. And now that I have that, I'm going to come in the front, and I'm going to pick up these 2 vertical bars here, and then I'm going to pick up these same 2 vertical bars on the front, on the other panel, and then yarn over, pull through, and then slip, and then insert the hook into the next. I'm sorry, I'm doing this on the black side, so it's a little hard to see, but this is just the vertical bars of the edge stitch here. So just these 2 vertical bars here, and the 2 corresponding 2 vertical bars on that side, so it's easier to see on this side here. So just insert, pick up those 2 vertical bars, pick up the 2 vertical bars from the other panel, yarn over, pull through, and slip. So I'm going to do this all around. I'm doing this because I wanted to add a little bit of color to the black side. I wanted to add a little bit of red here, so that's the reason for this. You could use any join for this, whatever you like. You could even do a single crochet join or anything else for that matter. It could be any join and it would be fine. Just to show you how it's looking, this is how it is. This is how it's looking at the other side, and just going to keep doing this. And here I am at the end. See this here. And I'm just going to go in the back and attach it with this, with the chain of the knit stitch. It's hard to see in the video, but I'm going to show you on the other panel. Here, the same thing on the other side. And just yarn over and pull through. So that's it. Now I'm going to cut this yarn and I'm going to fasten off so you can see this nice red border. I really like how it's looking. This is the back from the inside and this is how it's looking on the other side. So I'm now going to show you how to add the drawstring. Now to add the drawstrings, just one thing before I continue, I forgot to mention this earlier, but for the cords, I decided to leave a little long strand of yarn at the end because we'll need this to join at the bottom here. So just that little note. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to use my hook and I'm going to insert it on one side. Okay, let me do the right one here. Insert it on one side and just go all the way. It's a little hard, but I think I'll be able to get it. Just go here, take this and insert this here, just hook it somewhere and then pull it through. And there we have it. This cord came out through the side, and then the same cord will go in this panel from that side. I'm going to do that again here. And that same cord, I didn't really damage it, it's pretty sturdy, so I'm just going to use the same thing and pull it out on the other side. So the two ends are on this side and it's gone through both panels, and now I'm going to do the same thing with the other I-cord, but I'm going to the two ends will be on the other side, this side. This one is slightly harder because there's that other I-cord already inside this, but not too bad. And here it is. So the two ends of one cord on one side and the two ends of the other cord on the other side. And you can see that you easily close this and open this. I'm just going to now go ahead and tie these two ends at this corner and tie the other I-cord at this corner. So I'm just going to do that. I'm sorry, I just realized a few days back that my video got cut off when I was filming the previous portion of how to join these cords to the backpack. Uh, Unfortunately, I won't be able to show you exactly how to do it, but I think at that point I stopped. The video stopped was where I was trying to attach these here, and you can see that I picked up the corner of the red and the black panel, and I attached the cord there. And same for the other side. This actually has been in use for a while. My son has been using it uh, for a few months now. It's been that long since I um, made the last portion of this video. But so you can see that this has held up really well. It's as good as new. And the drawstring cord works really great. So you just pull and it closes, and this just opens it up. So I can tell you that this has held up well. It has had toys, books, and all kinds of stuff in it, and it's still working great. So uh, that's about it for making this backpack. It's super easy. The stretchiness, it hasn't permanently stretched, so it goes back to its original shape, which is great. And it's not too bulky. It was just the right size for my son. And he's a toddler, so it's a small size backpack, but you could extend the size and make it as large as you want, uh, or you could make it smaller, whichever you like. It's just a repeat of 2 rows, and it's super simple. Uh, so that's about it. If you have any questions about this, feel free to reach out to me. And I have a bunch of other tutorials and free patterns on my blog, so feel free to check those out. I'll leave a link to everything in the description below. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.